Hey, Dan here with Sprouts, Greens, and more. So it's morning time. I got my sweater on and it is cold. I live in Bakersfield, as you guys know if you're watching my previous videos. So I'm wearing shorts. Probably not the best thing to be doing when it's this cold, but I thought I'd get out here this morning. Actually, my buddy called me and he's bringing over some garden plants for me that he got me at a discount because his dad owns a nursery. So sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. And we're going to get those plants, and then later on today when it warms up I'm going to try to get some of them in the ground. He's bringing me a whole mess of them for real cheap, hopefully real cheap. And anyway, that's why I'm out here this morning. I had to move some things around and prepare for the plants that are coming in. I think I'm just going to put them in the greenhouse temporarily, but I've got a bunch of stuff in the greenhouse because I've been trying to clean it too. So anyway, my buddy just showed up, and so he brought me my plants, and here's some of them right here. So I'm going to take these out in the greenhouse and get them warmed up. So I'm going to work on getting this all in the ground today, and then I'll show you how I transplant and do things, and maybe I'll give you guys some insight on how to transplant and do your vegetables. So it is January 1st, actually. It's New Year's Day, so Happy New Year's, everybody. And we're going to get this stuff into the ground hopefully today, and I'll get this video out today. If not, then belated Happy New Year's. Might come out tomorrow. But we're definitely going to get most of this in the ground today. And then we might have to cover a little bit of it, because when I was outside this morning early, it was a little icy. So we might just throw some plastic over it just to protect the transplants. So I'm in the greenhouse, and I had brought the plants from this morning into the greenhouse, and they look a little dry, if you can see that. They look a little dry. So I'm probably going to bring the hose. My hose is kind of buried right now, but this is what I got. These were unmarked, and so I got these for 50 cents a piece. And then I had done a little bit of oregano and had done the Italian, and so we're going to try to get that in the ground today. And then we had got some marathon broccoli. That's going to go in the ground today. Got a little Bell Star broccoli. So my buddy, he was at his dad's shop. He goes, hey, I can get you a good deal on the vegetables. So this is what we got. And then he just kind of mixed it up for us. And then we got some snowball cauliflower, and I had him get me quite a few of that because I'm going to pickle some cauliflower if we can get the carrots to go this year. And then I don't have a purple artichoke. I've got some greens in the front, but I ended up getting this purple artichoke, which was cool. And then my wife said, well, I want some spinach, because he had mentioned he had some spinach. So we got a little bit of spinach right there. And then I don't know what this Bambi, but it's just probably a Bib lettuce, and so I had him get me some of that. And then I really hit and miss on strawberries in Bakersfield, so what I did here was I had him get me some strawberries, and this was the Eversweet, and I kind of look for ones that will stream out and re-propagate themselves. And then we got some premium chopped broccoli. And Then we got some graffiti broccoli, and the purple's always good. And then we got some more bib lettuce. He got me a little more lettuce than I wanted, but I got this for like 40 bucks, and I was like, and then me and him do trade on garden work and plants and all kinds of stuff, so it was like pretty much no money out. And then I got a bunch of onion too, and I'm big on onions. I love to eat onion and it's probably not very good for me as much as I eat, but I got some leeks also, and I'd never grown this variety, which is a, let me wipe that off on my, which is a giant muscle boar muscle boar leek. So I'm growing that, and then I ended up getting a bunch of the onions. So I got the red, and then I got the yellow. And my buddy's dad owns a nursery, and I had a couple years ago bought some onion, and I think they were called Maui Sweet, and man, they were the best onions ever. Came from the greenhouse, and I was staking out the area where I'm gonna do some of the broccoli and cauliflower, and I think I'm gonna do it in this area right here. But I've got a little bit of work to do in here, and if you look, and look who's back here with me, he's always in there. If you look, I have, this is bad, you guys, so the nut grass is really bad. And in my other raised beds, I don't have it real bad, but this one, it got away from me a little bit, and I don't know if you can see it right there, but if you grab it, you can pull it, and then it'll go from nut to nut right there. And you want to try to get that pulled out. And once you find the nut grass, then you kind of want to grab it and get it pulled up. And then also what I found was, look at this. So I got a broken sprinkler head, and I just threw it down here, but we're gonna fix all this too on the drip irrigation. So we got that to do, and then I'll grab the plants and I'll come back, show you how I do the transplant. Now it just recently rained, and so the ground's nice and wet. It rained yesterday and the day before, which we really need because we don't get a lot of rain here in Bakersfield. So let me do that. We'll grab the plants, and then we'll get this nut grass out of here. So I got about an hour's worth of work, and then we'll try to show you how I do the transplants. All right, so I got it all weeded out. The nut grass was starting to get really bad, so I just took my time with it. And what you do is when you have the nut, the stringer will go along and go to another nut. And what you want to do is just kind of pull it real gentle and just try to get all that you can out. Now, if the nut grass starts taking you over, like in farm situations or in the ground, I do raised beds so I can kind of maintain them. And once I get all the weeding and I'm constantly on it, then I don't have that big of a problem with the weeds. But you want to make sure you're pulling them out. If you let them grow like I did, my garden where it got overgrown, then it's dropping seed, and then you have a problem for about 4 months as you're recultivating and replanting stuff. So just make sure you get the nut grass. Now I am about organic gardening, but I'm always going to give you suggestions on how to cure problems. And if you have a big nut grass problem, it can literally take your farm over, and you'll never stay up with it. And you can use a chemical, not recommended, but it will kill the nut grass, but you can't grow in the soil for months. So for me, it's just not feasible to do that, whether I'm out in my front area where I have kind of the farm situation in my front of my yard. So I don't do that. I just pull it as it comes up and just stay busy. And then I got some kids that will come by once in a while and pull weeds for a little bit of cash. And that's what I do. But anyway, we're going to get on to this, and I'm going to show you. So I cleaned it out, and I cleaned the row out a little bit. So this area is all cleaned out. This is my purple tree collar. I'm going to kind of plant the broccoli underneath this because I'm going to end up cutting this back. So I went to my compost. I make compost tea, and you can see, I don't know if you can see the color, but it's compost tea, and I make it in a 55-gallon drum, and I use a lot of it in my gardens. I'm a firm believer in warm casting tea, and I also put rock dust in it and down to earth stuff, down to earth nutrients in it, which is an organic company. You got to go check them out and check them out and buy some of their products. It's really great stuff. They sell kelp meal and starter mixes and all kinds of stuff. And then I got the plants, and what I did was I pulled the biggest ones out of here because I might leave some of them as I'm cleaning raised beds out to plant more stuff. My friend brought the plants a little early. So I'm going to set this up to where you can see me planting everything, and I'm going to show you how I do it. Okay, hopefully the glare's not too bad and you can see me, and I basically want you to see the raised bed rather than me. So we're gonna point this camera a little bit down. We're gonna get set up here. So a couple of things you need is I use a trowel. If your ground's really hard, then you're gonna wanna get a little shovel and see, like right here, like I missed some nut grass. And that's what I'm talking about. Right there earlier, see, you can see the streamer, and it'll just form another nut. Now I talked to an old guy once, and he said you can actually clean this and eat the nut grass. It's crazy, but you can eat that. I'm not going to eat any today to show you. Usually I'll show you guys when eating things, but I'm not going to eat no nut grass today. So got a few more weeds, but when we're digging around, we're transplanting, and then if the soil's really tough, we'll kind of trowel it with our trowel. I really don't want to get a shovel in here because this is a fairly new bed, and I don't want to kill any of the worms. So the other thing I went and got was a pitcher for my compost tea, and then to do the transplant, I got my hose. And then the other thing you need is your plants. And so I'm going to start out doing the broccoli first, and they were kind of dry. So I noticed my buddy brought them, and they were kind of dry, and you can see the bottom. So what I'll do is this is a 6-pack, and what I'll do is kind of get rid of these bottom leaves. And then I'll pull this out, and you can see where it's dry. And so a lot of guys disagree with me, but I'll take my compost tea, which I make out of worm castings and down to earth stuff and rock dust, in it. I don't think it's organic because of the fish, but it's really good stuff, and it's made by BioBiz. And I do put a couple shots in my compost tea maker just to give everything a boost. And what I do, right here, and you can see on the bucket, is I'll actually just dip the plant into the compost tea. You don't have to do this. You could actually just dip it into water, and then that's gonna give it a little extra start. So because I'm set up right in this area, I'll move this out of the way. And then I'll show you. I just dig the hole. And then I just make sure that there's no nut grass, because like I said, the nut grass was getting me. So I'll pull it out of the hole. And then what I do, put the plant in the hole. And then I fill it up with water. Even though it rained, I'm gonna fill it up with water and let the soil in the hole get saturated. And then I'm just checking for nut grass right here. And then you just bury up the plant. And then you can push on it a little bit. Don't go too heavy on it. You want the soil to be light, and I try not to step in the raised bed, but you can see I'm stepping in the raised bed. This bed was a little wide. I made it wider, and it's almost too wide because I can't get to it from this side. So I gotta get in here once in a while. And then after I'm done putting the plant in there, I just give it a little top water and kind of get the plant sprayed off. And that's how you do the transplants, and then just space them. So when you're doing the spacing, and I'm going to move my liner, my drip out of the way, is I do it, and you can see more nut grass. That's just terrible stuff, man. I mean, it will really, and I wasn't paying attention to this bed, and it kind of got me. Okay, back to over. So when I do the spacing, I want the broccoli, when I do it, at about 12 inches, and or a trowel's length. So I say this trowel's probably about 10. So I'm gonna dip it in my compost tea, put it in the hole, and then fill the hole up. And another thing it does is it massages the roots. I use a little shower, and it'll massage the roots, and then I just bury it up. And so if I go this way, then I'll do one in the center. And I kind of stagger stuff in my garden. So that's how you should be doing it, is just staggering it. I like to stagger it. This is a little too close, so I'm going to move them a little farther on the next planting. But it's doing all right. So, and again, dip it in my compost tea. Put my water, easy peasy. So, your hands will get dirty. Most guys will wear gloves, but I don't really care. I'm gonna get dirty. I'm out in my garden every day for at least 3 hours a day anymore, so, and sometimes 8 hours. So that's how you plant the broccoli. So I'm going to plant this out, and then I'll show you what I got when I get it all done. So this is a quicker way to do it, you guys. On the video I kind of show just one step at a time, but on this way you can just dip the whole thing in the bucket. And I kind of left the video going. I was thinking about doing a fast forward so you could see how I'm doing it. And then as I get tired, I just water the top, and it's good. So yeah, just dip it in the water, and then you want to let it stream out. And it looks like I'm going to be a couple plants shy, and I've got some more cauliflower in the greenhouse, and it's this size. And this is the cauliflower, this is the snowball, and I'm going to grow this and show you guys how to pickle the carrots, cauliflower, and I put a little onion in mine, and then I pickle it all together, and it's really good. And I like to put hot pepper in it and a little sugar because I like the sweet cauliflower. But I'm actually going to do some dill stuff and stuff without sugar for my health, and then to show you guys that you can do things any way when you're gardening and when you're cooking your garden food. And the thing is just to get enjoyment out of it and try to eat better. And that's one thing I'm really trying to do right now. 100%? No. But I'm trying. So I'm going to run back and get to the greenhouse and get some more cauliflower. I ended up grabbing the whole flat because I didn't want I get tired. I'm an old man, you guys, and I'm gonna sit that right there. The other thing I want to tell you guys is, like, I have like 5 different broccolis, so I'm really bad about labeling things. And people, when I'm doing the markets, they go, "Well, what variety is it?" And I'm like, "It's broccoli." Is it Latham? Is it Bellstar? Is it Premium? What is it? Like, yeah. So one thing I've really been working on, and I'm really going to be due diligent about this year, is marking the variety and where it's coming out. And then that way, I always like to let one go to seed. And that way I can save the seed. And sometimes I don't save seed because I'm not sure exactly what variety it is. So that's one thing I'm really working on doing this year. And hopefully I stay on it. I laugh because I already know, like, I'm not going to most of the time. But like, there's just all kinds of strains. Like, here's a Bellstar. Here's Marathon, you know. So, and a lot of times, like, I'm staggering things in my garden, because the thing is when I'm doing markets, I'm using my garden as, and I have a pretty big lot, but to sell things and keep things rotating is very difficult here. I just need more land. And I used to have it, but me and him, it was just too much for me. I just need to be where I'm growing. So, plant things tight. That's what I do. And then you can afford to sell some things. And if you go to my website, you can buy things. If you're in Bakersfield, just call me up, and I can make you a basket when things are really going. And things are starting to go. I got broccoli over here right now. I was pulling weeds. I said, "Holy smokes, I got a bunch of broccoli in here." So, and I got mints, and I'm doing greenhouse stuff right now, and everything's starting to go really good. I'm feeling really good about the garden. So let me finish transplanting this out, and then I'll show you what it looks like when I'm all done. So, hey, I got the whole bed in. Now, I wanted to hit on a couple things before I close this video out. Is that I do model my garden after a couple different people that I watched years ago on YouTube. One of them is a Square Foot Gardener, and I can't remember his name. I think it's Bart Bartholomew or someone like that. But anyway, that's how I kind of model my garden. But I do dip things and put waters in holes, and I think it just keeps the plants from being shocky and being stressed. And that's the one thing when you're doing transplants, you want to keep that plant out of shock. And when you take it out of a container and put it in the hole, it's got to get used to the soil, the weather temperature, everything. And I just think adding water, and especially compost tea, whether you make your compost tea with nutrients, you know, synthetics or whatever. Like, I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just showing you, and I want to say I'm not responsible if all your plants die. I just do things the way I know works for me. And the other thing I want to hit on is plastic. Like, I spend a ton of money every year on plastic, especially if I'm doing markets, like I'm selling plants, and I will just spend a ton of money on plastic. So the one thing that I want to say here is that you need to be rinsing your plastic. If you're gonna do gardening, you know, all the time like I do, or even part-time, you want to be using your plastic, and it's free. You already paid for it. I mean, you paid for it with the plant, so might as well keep it. When you're using these 6-hole planters, if you leave these in the sun, they don't last up too well. So you definitely want to store them indoors in a nice room temperature place, like 75 to 8. They'll actually go up to 90 degrees if they're out of the sun. But if they're in the sun, they'll warp and get all brittle. And so if you want to save containers, and maybe in a future video, I'll do a thing where we actually recycle the planters and plant in them. So I got this all done, and I'm watering it really, really good. Now, I dipped everything in compost tea and then put it in the ground, and I want to show you guys, but there was about 4 holes where I didn't put water in the hole, and then later today I'll come back out here and show you if they were in stress, you know. I don't think they're going to be, because I top water really good when I do transplants, because I know how hard it is and how hard the plant takes it when you transplant it. And if it looks like it's going to freeze tonight, I might come out here and throw some plastic just over them. I'm not going to build no hoop house or nothing. I'm just going to cover them with a netting. I actually have either plastic or a netting. So when I come back to the evening and show you how the transplants fared, then I'll do a netting over them. We'll just do a netting over them, and I'll show you guys. And I get a lot of stuff from I think it's Greenhouse Mega Store or Mega Greenhouse. Yeah, Greenhouse Mega Store. And I use them a lot for all my containers and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you. So this was the bed that I planted out. And you can see I got it all planted out, and I saved my containers, and I have my compost tea. Now, you can dip them individually. The thing is, when you're dipping the whole container, you get a lot of perlite in there, but it's no big deal. I think perlite's really good for your garden, and I use a bunch of old potting soil, and I throw in mine, and my garden always grows really well, and everything's always big and beautiful. So you can see these were a little close together, but like I said, you just want to do the best you can do. And so here in a minute, I'm going to just take the compost tea and just filter it down the middle of the row, and then I'm going to fix this little, in the beginning of the video I showed you, like the emitter actually broke off. And so you got to check for that stuff, because if it breaks off, all your water is coming out that hole, and it's not watering your brand new plants you put in the ground. So I want to show you something that I planted a few months ago. And you can see that I've really been cleaning up my gardens and getting everything. And this bed, try not to pay too much attention to it, because it was leaning, and I'm trying to fix it. But I was out here pulling weeds in this raised bed, and look what I found. So I got this broccoli, and you can see it's about as big as my hand, and it's actually going to get a little bit bigger. And that's how I did the transplant. And you can see the bugs still got the grasshopper, I think, is eating this. And as I find them, I give them to my chickens. But you can see the little shoots on them too. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but you can see the little broccoli shoots on there. And then you can see the big broccoli right there. And I think there's some more over here. And so, like, some of this stuff is ready to eat and we're ready to go. And then you can actually see my chickens. They're not laying eggs. They've done their cycle. I've owned them for about 6 years. We're going to get rid of them and start fresh. And I'll have those on videos too, if you guys like chickens. And so, yes, I run basically a rural farm. And you can see I kind of was giving up. I should have planted something there, but I'd run out of plants. But you can see how close I am, and everything grew fairly good. So I do plant a little closer than most guys, but that's the way I do things, and it seems to work out. And usually I'll use my middle of from my tip of my finger to about the middle of my arm. And I got pretty long arms, so it's a pretty good space. Let me get out of the sun. Let me see if I... So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I still got more stuff to plant, and I'm going to show you how to do onions and how to separate them. And I need to clean a few more raised beds out. I got one in the center here that's old peppers, and I'm going to save some basil seed, and it's just a lot. There's always something to do here. So I'm going to get more plants in there, and I'll show you how to do that. I'm probably going to do the onion mixed in with some of the lettuce. And then that way I got onions coming up between the bib lettuce that we had just got from my buddy from his dad's nursery. And that's Bull's Nursery in Bakersfield. If you guys want to go in there and check it out. He has a lot of winter plants, and everything's healthy, and he has a pretty good deal on them. They're like $3.50 for a 6-pack, I think. $3.50 or $4 a 6-pack. So go check him out. But please watch all my videos, like my videos, make comments if you'd like, and you can email me with questions, and then you can go to my website. I have my website up and running. I'm going to start putting product on there in about a week. Kits and sprout jars and all kinds of stuff, so check it out. But please subscribe, like my video, and I hope you guys like what you've seen today. All right, peace. I'm out of here, man. All right, I'll see you on the next one, and there will be a next one. So you can see I just threw it over the raised bed, and it's really light. Like, it's super light. And it won't really damage the plant too much. So it was kind of cold today, and it was really cold this morning. So since I just transplanted them, I just wanted to protect them. And then it's really easy to work with. So I wanted to show you also, like, you can see the transplant. It came out really good doing it with the compost and doing it in the area, and then you just throw it over. Really easy to work with, and it's super light. Like, it's really airy. You can see the air, see how light it is just by barely tugging on it. And then what I do, just kind of throw my trowel over it, and then you could just that way if we get a big old wind, then that will keep it for tonight. It's not permanent. Now, if I wanted to be permanent, I could take this, the PVC, and put it across the bed. I think I can even show you, like, just real quick. Like, I could do it. just like that and cut it down, and you can see that. And then I could literally put it over the hoop and then just use a clamp and just clamp it to the PVC. But we're not going to do that today. I'm just showing you guys what you can do when you do transplants in the winter. Because when you're doing winter gardening and you're dealing with hey, get out of there. He wanted to get up in there. I had to actually get him. That's my garden buddy. Come on, let's go. So when you're doing stuff during the winter, you want to make sure you're protecting it from frost, because even the broccoli will hold up to the frost, but it's still temperamental. And let me show you. We'll go this way a little bit. Come on, back up. We'll get a shot of crypto there. So when they get to this age, they really, like, it was icy on the fence right here. It was just pure ice on this thing this morning. And then these plants had a little bit of ice, but look at them later on in the day. And even the lettuce held up really good through the ice that was on the ground. So the bigger broccoli, sorry I'm breathing so hard, I've been working. The bigger broccoli is going to hold up and be frost tolerant, and that's why we grow it during the winter. And you can grow broccoli during the summer. A lot of people say you can't, but you can. It's just in Bakersfield it doesn't tend to do as well. See, when someone brings you plants, you know, you can get out there and do it in one day. And I still got a lot more plants, and I'm going to clear another bed out tomorrow and show you guys how to do the onions and separate the onions. And I've got a couple different ways you can do that too. So check out the next video. But anyway, I just want to say, please subscribe, like the video, share it with millions of your friends. If you got a million, I got about 2. Just kidding. I got a couple. Anyway, I'm Dan with Sprouts and Greens and More. And just you guys have a great New Year's Day. And peace. I'm out, and I hope you keep watching my videos. Thanks a lot. All right, bye.